Hello collectors, and welcome to my quick review of the SH MonsterArts Godzilla 2000 Millennium Special Color version. A Bandai Premium Webshop exclusive, this is a repaint of the popular SH MonsterArts Godzilla 2000 Millennium, released in 2013. Many collectors are wondering if this repaint is worth it, and even more are wondering if this repaint can replace the first release. So without further ado, sit back, relax, and let's take a look to see whether or not it's worth adding into your collection. The Godzilla 2000 Millennium sculpt looks fantastic in its own right. The nice details from Sakai are wonderful with all of the grooves, and the paint application really makes some points of the sculpt really pop. In some regards, this figure's paint apps are better than the first release. But to each its own figure, this one does have some weak points too. First, the head. The eyes are looking upward at an angle, so he's always looking up. The mouth, I find it a bit sloppier than the first release because the paint on the teeth, well, it's very light. Though some could argue it's a small space and it's difficult to paint, so it may bother you, it may not. The torso has a nice brown spray to it, and this spray is also found on the knees. The claw paint also, as you can see, is nicely blended in, and I find it to be better on this figure than the first release. The main body is a very dark green color, which really does pop in some spots, though it is slightly grayer than the original release. So those looking for a more traditional colored Godzilla 2000 Millennium will find it here. And continuing with that idea, looking at the dorsal plates, you can see that the colors are blended in very well, and the colors of the dorsal plates are closer to the stereotypical Godzilla idea, because they're a grayish, whitish color. And last up, the feet. Yay! Not much to say aside from there's a little teeny tiny bit of, I guess you could say, sloppiness on the claws, but it's not really that big of a deal. But it's still a pain in the ass. And now, for those who need to know, here's a quick side-by-side comparison to the first G2KM. Of note, both feature the same soft plastic, which, well, it's sad. To wrap everything up, great sculpt, as you know, and killer paint. You won't be disappointed with how he looks. If you're familiar with the articulation for Godzilla 2000 Millennium, the first release, you already know what to expect out of this guy, because the joints are the same. So first and foremost, we have the jaw. You can see on a ball joint, you can wiggle it around like so, and the tongue, like the first Godzilla 2000 Millennium, is on a hinge. So you can move it around like that. And then we have some ball joints here in the neck, so Godzilla can turn his head around. Unfortunately, can't really get him to look up too much, but luckily the eyes are placed so well that Godzilla is always looking sort of at an angle upwards, so I guess you can make it look like it's looking up, even though it really can't. So the shoulders, interesting design. There's a little hinge on the inside allowing you to move Godzilla's shoulders in and out, like so. And then there's a ball joint here, which allows you to swivel and move the shoulder around. We have a double ball joint at the elbow, as you can see here, ball joint attachment. So that's pretty unique. So you can get a sort of hinge-like movement out of the elbows, but you can swivel too, because they're ball joints. Then we get to the wrist, we have a double swivel or ball hinge combo, so you can spin the wrist joint around however you would like. And then the hands are attached on a ball joint. Now moving down to the main body, we have two ball joints here for the ab crunch, so this way you can get this top portion of Godzilla's body to move, along with the middle portion. So watch the big dorsal plate. It can actually twist and turn. Freer on this one because on the original version of mine, this midsection here doesn't like to move too much, so maybe a small quality control difference there. Now, going down to the hips, ball jointed, so this way you can spin Godzilla's legs around. The knees, same style joints in the elbows, so this way you can get some swiveling out of them, along with bending. Natural Godzilla poses. Then right here at the shin calf area, there's a split for ball joint, so you can spin that around. And then the ankles are ball joints too. So this way you can really spread Godzilla's legs out, like so. And you can make him do the splits if you want. Then, going on from there, starting from here at the tail, all the way up to this little itty-bitty part here, ball joints. But unfortunately, since this Godzilla is made of softer plastic, yeah, over time these joints will loosen up, and yeah, tail won't be able to hold too many poses. Overall, though, in terms of articulation, this Godzilla has really got it going on. If you're looking for a superposable Godzilla 2000 Millennium, then this is definitely one you should consider picking up, even if you have the first. In terms of sizing, Godzilla is just slightly larger than your 6-inch standard scale Godzilla figure. First up, some Ultra Act Ultras. Here, some Ultra Act Kaiju. Up next, some of NECA's Pacific Rim Kaiju. Here's Godzilla alongside some random SH MonsterArts. Here, some of the larger SH MonsterArts. And finally, alongside some other Godzilla figures in the SH MonsterArts line. So, like I said, slightly bigger than the 6-inch norm in terms of Godzilla figures, but you should have a good idea of how big he is. So, buy it now, skip it, or wait for a deal. Well, what you're seeing is what you're getting. Great sculpt, awesome paint, so soft material, and solid articulation. Overall, it's a nice stand-in for Kiryugoji while being a nice release in its own right. Fans who missed out on the first release should definitely be content with this one. And those who have the first release should find something to love with this one too. After all, we do like repaints done right.